Jim Appleby, I'm playing Carl, and interviewer number 2.
Hello, I am Emma Grace Imes. I will be playing Dawn and Kelly.
I'm Joshua Collins. I'm playing the man, the myth, the legend.
I am JC Pierce. I'll be reading stage directions and then interviewer 1.
My name's Natalie Thompson. I'll be playing the principal and also interviewer number 2.
My name is Monica Berry, and I will be playing Diane and the nurse.
Hi, I'm Elena. I will be reading as Matt's mom and a doctor.
At Rise, an office at Cornell. 3 interviewers are inside and Matt is outside waiting his interview.
Our next candidate, Matt Rifenburg. Everyone have his info and questions?
I do.
I do, but again, I must voice my objection to wasting our time.
He deserves an interview.
He deserves an interview as much as I need a hole in the head.
Well, he has one of those too.
You can make all the jokes you want. Joking is very appropriate for an interview with this guy. He has no degree. He dropped out of high school, for God's sake.
He has more than enough experience to make up for the lack of...
Is that really what we want for this department? Come on, guys. We haven't hired someone for this position in 22 years. Is this really the president we want to set?
I understand your concern, Dawn. I mean, I'm an engineer. I get it, but I think we all want the best person for the job. And if it isn't him, then what difference will it make to give him an interview?
Exactly. 49 other applicants aren't going to be hired either.
49 other applicants at least are qualified to be interviewed. And
Look, I'm the technical director and chair of this hiring committee. He is getting an interview. That is not up for debate. All I need to know is if you have the questions and his application packed.
yes, sir, I do.
Good. Then let's call him in. We're already late, and I don't want his impression of us to be this is how we conduct business.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to leave a bad impression of a private Ivy League research lab on the high school dropout.
There is no room for your personal biases in this interview process. Understood?
Dawn rolls her eyes.
I will be professional, as always.
Yes, you will.
If we're ready, I'll call him in now.
Carl walks to the door.
Matt, I'm Carl, and we're ready for you now.
Matt enters.
Have a seat right over here.
Matt walks to his seat.
Mr. Rifenburg? Did I pronounce that right?
It's actually a long I, Rifenburg, but you can call me Matt.
I'm Tim, and I'm the tech director and chair of this interview committee. This is Carl, our engineer.
Hi, Carl. Nice to meet you.
And this is Don, one of our mechanical designers.
Nice to meet you, Dawn.
Dawn nods but doesn't speak or make eye contact.
Just a few things as we get started. We pulled 50 applicants for our initial screening and have decided to interview the top 5 candidates. So congratulations on making it through to this stage.
Thank you so much. It's an honor.
We record all interviews so we can go back and review if necessary. Do you agree to that?
Sure, I have no problem with that.
Okay then. I'm going to begin recording.
Presses the recording device.
Meeting of the committee to hire drafter number 3, date April 1st, 2011, 9 a.m. Candidate, please state your name for the record.
Scene flashes back to Matt sitting at his computer. His wife Diane comes up and hugs him and kisses him.
Hey, hun, what you doing?
Just checking email.
Maybe you can help clear out some of the dishes when you get that done?
Yeah. I'll get to that.
What's so funny?
I received an email to apply for a job at Cornell.
As in the university?
That's it.
Doing what?
It's for a drafter in a particle physics lab.
I think your time could be better spent with those dishes. They won't do themselves.
I think filling out this app is a delightful use of my time. Besides, you gotta love me. It's in the contract.
You're crazy.
Crazy like a fox.
Or just plain crazy.
I got you to love me. That's pretty crazy if you ask me.
When you say it like that,
Diane kisses Matt on his face, neck, and lips.
Maybe those dishes can wait after all.
No arguments from me.
Diane keeps kissing him.
It's a short app. I can do it online in 5 minutes. Can you actually imagine if by some chance in hell they even considered me?
I can imagine a lot of things right now, but that isn't one of them. Come on, hun. I want you.
Give me 5 minutes and I'm all yours. I just can't pass up applying. It'd be the funniest thing ever. I hate schools and I hate winter, so I get a job at Cornell University in New York in a research lab.
Okay, 5 minutes and you're either all mine or it's dishes time.
You'll always be my choice, hon. Always. Except when there's a humorous opportunity like this. You can even time me. Starting now. Okay, first question. Name. Dumbass from Poughkeepsie, a.k.a.
Scene flashes back to the interview.
Matt Rifenburg.
Thank you, Matt. We have put together some standard questions for all the candidates, and then a few additional follow-up questions based on each candidate's unique skill set.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
We are committed to excellence here at Cornell, and we are searching for the best candidate. There may be additional interviews if we feel necessary, but you will be informed of your status either way. Carl has your first set of questions, so I'm going to turn it over to him at this time.
Thanks, Tim. Matt, my job here at Cornell is that of an engineer. I'd like to start the process by going over your qualifications. I've noticed that a section was left out of the application packet that we were given. Could you tell me the year and the high school you graduated from?
I went to high school in New York, but I didn't graduate.
Excuse me, are you serious?
Yes, ma'am. I said I attended high school in New York, but I didn't graduate.
Could you explain the extenuating circumstances that prevented you from graduating? For existence, were you homeschooled, developed an illness?
Help me understand.
The scene flashes back to an office where Mom and Matt sit.
Help you understand what, Mom?
Help me understand how, despite everything I've done since your father and I split, all the days working 2 jobs to buy you and your brothers food and clothes.
Yeah, clothes I can't freaking stand.
Go naked then. See how you like that.
I'd rather be naked than seen in those clothes. What were you thinking?
What was I thinking? Really? I was thinking I hadn't raised such an ungrateful son who thinks he's too good to wear clothes that I worked 2 jobs to buy. Do you know how embarrassing it is to be sitting in the principal's office?
It's not my first time in here.
Mom taps him on the head.
You think this is a big joke, don't you?
Matt is silent.
Don't speak then. I'll tell you one thing though. Life is hard. One day you're gonna wake up and you'll think back to what I'm saying to you today. Hey, look at me when I'm talking to you.
Matt continues to stare ahead, arms crossed.
Sit there and don't look at me then. But you're going to listen. One day you're gonna wake up and find yourself like me. A parent to 5 kids working 2 jobs trying to make ends meet. You're going to become old before your time because life will be so tough. You need an education.
I'm smart enough.
Mom taps him on the head again.
Okay, Mr. Smart Guy, I'll sign the papers for you to drop out if that's what you want to hear. But hear me. There won't be any sitting around the house watching TV. You'll get a full-time job, and if you don't make enough to buy your own clothes and food, then you can starve, run around naked, and freeze your tail off. If you're a big smart man now at 15, then you can work and support yourself.
Matt continues staring ahead in silence. The principal and the teacher, Mr. Mooney, enter the room. Mom stands up to greet them. Matt remains seated. Mom taps him on the head again. He remains seated.
I want to thank you for coming in today, ma'am. I'm Principal Berger, and this is one of our English teachers, Mr. Mooney.
Nice to meet you. Good to see you, Matt.
Matt nods and remains quiet.
I don't want to waste anyone's time today. I think we all know why we're here. Matt has requested to sign out of school, and we are required by law to have this meeting to see if there's any possibility of finding a solution that works for all.
I thought you didn't want to waste anyone's time.
Mom taps Matt on the head again.
I apologize for my son's behavior. I hope you know he wasn't raised to act this way.
I've had Matt in class, ma'am, and I want to assure you that he has a lot of potential, and I truly hope we can work something out today. I'd hate to lose Matt.
That means so much to me. He was always a good boy. His father and I separated years ago, and Matt recently seems to have lost his way.
I've been looking through his record, and a lot of teachers have remarked that he's very bright, with lots of potential, but lazy.
He's always been smart. He has a curiosity of how things work. He's taken apart nearly everything in the house, but don't worry, he's supposed to put most of it back together now.
Looking at his attendance record, it looks like he has plenty of time on his hands. He's missed an average 3 out of every 5 days. He doesn't go to class on the 2 days he is here. One teacher wrote that while he is the smartest kid in the room, he often acts like he's the dumbest.
Matt, let us help you. You have so much potential. Just a few courses in summer school, and I know you can get caught up.
My mind's made up.
Sadly, so is your life if you make poor choices like this one.
My life, my rules.
I've tried talking to him. I'm very much against this, but I won't stand in the way. He wants his life and his rules. If he's as smart as he thinks he is, he'll figure out the final part of that is my consequences.
Your mom's a very smart lady, Matt. No one here wants to see you fail. It is ultimately your decision, and if your mom is willing to sign the paper, then we've done what the state requires on our part. Just sign your name here, and you will no longer be a student.
Mom and Matt sign the paper as the lights fade back to the interview.
I'm not sure I can help you understand, Don. I can only say I was young. I hated school and rules. I was bored and just wanted something different.
I'm sure your mom must be proud of you for getting the interview here today.
I hope she would be. I mean, I kept my end of the bargain. She signed me out of school, and I did odd jobs. I did maintenance at a tennis club and worked in a garage and painted houses a few days a week, too.
Wouldn't going to school have been easier?
Maybe easier. I was stupid then. Some may say not much has changed there. I know this isn't the path everyone takes. I just couldn't stay there. I felt insecure, didn't have many friends, and I hated rules and homework. Not for girls. I would have dropped out sooner, I guess. But you know, looking back, working those jobs, trying to find my own way, on my own terms, taught me a lot of lessons that books never could have. I know how ironic it must seem that I'm interviewing at a college after saying I wanted no part of schools, but that was a lot of years ago, and I never faulted those who went the path of education. It just wasn't something I could do at that time in my life. I worked the jobs, and then I joined the military.
My question was, is your mom proud now that you have this interview?
And my answer is I hope so, but I can't say for sure.
It would seem that'd be a simple yes or no answer.
No disrespect, but if you have a way to ask her, I'd like to know the answer too.
This is an interview. Snide remarks such as that one won't win you any points.
Well, I'm just trying to answer the question as honestly as I can. I dropped out, yes. I worked odd jobs, yes. I joined the Air Force and went to basic training in San Antonio. About 3 weeks in, they told me that my mom was dying of cancer. I was on a plane back the next day.
I'm sorry to hear this. I hope you know I meant no disrespect. Asking questions is just part of making the best decision for Cornell and our department.
Sure, I get it. I like to think I'm honest and genuine. My answers may not be the most eloquent, but I guarantee you they're the most real. I'd like to think my mom is out there somewhere watching this interview right now and smiling, but what I really remember when I flew back was that she asked me. What she asked me? That she asked me.
You don't have to answer the question any further.
I want you to know who I am. Who you'd be hiring if you chose me. My mom said to me, Matt, am I dying? And I just squeezed her hand and looked in her eyes, and all I could say was, you'll be fine, Mom. It was to make me feel better, I guess. I just couldn't tell her.
Dawn wipes away a tear.
So maybe if she knows of this interview somehow, she knows I didn't lie to her either. I struggle with telling her that even now. It was our last conversation before she passed away.
A tough decision for sure. There's no easy way to lead into another question after difficult answers such as that, but just curious. Maybe you've given some thought to, if you'd stayed in school, how your life might have been different?
I have thought a lot about this from time to time over the years, but haven't come up with a definite answer. Maybe I would have ended up more successful sooner, or made better choices that led me down an easier path, but then again, I would have missed out on the many lessons that have made me who I am. I try not to dwell on it too much though, because I can't go back, and wishing for it to be different has no effect. Only action can make changes. Action got me to this interview, not wishing.
I think this might be a good time to stop and take a break. We have some refreshments down the hallway to the left in the conference room. Let's take about 10 minutes.
Sure, thank you all.
Matt exits.
Tim, I am so sorry.
I expect more from you, Don. He may or may not be our guy, but he is in this interview as genuine and prepared as any other candidate, and I won't tolerate anything less than an equal chance. Do you feel you can continue?
I know that I can. I have to know the rest of the story.
I wish all the candidates and even our colleagues were as raw and forthcoming as he is.
We're just getting started, so no one is saying he is the one who is the best qualified, but he is going to get the same quality interview as everyone else. The next question is yours, Don. So take a minute to breathe in and collect yourself, and let's get back to the work of finding the best person for this job.
I feel like we've covered the education, or the lack thereof, pretty thoroughly. I don't have any more questions about that. Anyone else think we need to delve further?
No, I feel like we've covered that. I'm satisfied. Don?
I have the next section of personal experience and growth. I think this is a good time to go straight into that section.
Agreed. Then I'll close with his qualifications and work experience. Everyone ready to call him back in?
I am.
Ready?
Tim presses a button.
Tracy, could you tell Mr. Rifenburg we're ready for him now? Remember, this is the next section. We're looking for how the candidate can articulate times in their personal life or work life where they've executed and went above and beyond. We want to know that whoever we choose is going to give us 100%.
Matt walks in and has a seat back in his chair.
We're ready to continue with section 2 of the interview. Don will be asking the question as they pertain to personal and work growth.
Great, I'm ready.
Thank you for the information you have shared with us in our first portion of the interview. For this question, I'd like you to tell us about an encounter with a difficult person in your work or personal life and how you went above and beyond the call of duty.
Most of the time in my work experience, I have worked pretty much independently and haven't really encountered a difficult person that stands out. My personal life has had a few. One thing that really has a lot to do with how I got here today took place when I was married to my first wife.
Scene flashes back and the lights come up on the living room. Matt is pacing the floor. Kelly is staggering in.
Kelly!
That's me.
I'm pretty sure I know your name by now. What I don't know is where you've been.
I've been out. Yeah, that's it. Out.
I know you've been out.
You are always the observant one. Did you pick up any beer?
Kelly goes to the fridge and starts tossing food items out. Matt goes over to the fridge and tries to pick up the items that she's tossing. Kelly tosses a ketchup bottle, which hits Matt in the face.
Kelly, stop it. Damn it, that hurt.
Oh, lighten up. It's a plastic bottle. Are you a pansy?
You're gonna wake up Justin. Will you please keep it down?
Kelly, will you do this? Kelly, will you do that? What the? Not one beer in this whole house. You're useless.
I'm useless.
Did I stutter?
Slutter said that way as she is clearly intoxicated. Kelly staggers over to the sofa, almost falling several times.
You sure as hell did, slutter. And you're staggering all over the place, too. It's 2 a.m. and you're just getting home. I think I deserve to know where you've been.
No beer, no answers.
Kel, I'm working 2 jobs, and we have a 2-year-old that needs a mother and a father. He barely knows who you are because you sleep all day and stay out all night. We're not teenagers anymore.
Now that you mention it, you are starting to look a lot older. I'm as hot as I ever was.
And is drunk.
Kelly approaches Matt, trying to hug and kiss him.
You didn't seem to mind it when I was drunk and me.
Stop it!
Matt tries to push her hands away.
Kel, you've got to grow the hell up. Justin needs us. He needs you.
He caresses Kelly's face.
And so do I.
Matt kisses her.
I love you, Kel. I don't want to fight with you.
You love me. I don't see how you can even say that the way you treat me.
What?
As soon as I walk through the door every night, you stand there with that accusing tone. Where have you been, Cal? You know what time it is, Cal? You need to grow the hell up, Cal. I'm sick of being treated like a child. You're not my dad. I'm a grown woman. I'm gonna do whatever I want.
Let's just calm down and talk about this. I mean, come on. Can't you see why I'm a little upset?
No, I really can't.
I was worried sick, not knowing where you are or if you're safe. What if something happened? I'd have no idea how to even reach you.
Like, what's gonna happen? Hello, 911, where the hell is my wife? Seriously. You worry about the stupidest things. I'm stuck in this house all day, you're not.
That's right, I'm not. I'm not busting my ass with my first job. And if I'm lucky, I can eat a bite of something before my second job. Then I get home expecting my wife to be glad to see me. But instead, you're out the door and I'm pacing the floors at 2 a.m. and watching the baby. And I'll be lucky to sleep a couple of hours before I get up and start the damn cycle all over again.
Oh, boo-hoo. I don't know who the baby is. You were Justin.
Stop.
You always play the victim. No one asked you to work 2 jobs.
No one asked me? What the f... Who do you think pays the rent, buys food? I'd love it if I could just work a normal job and come home and be with you and Justin, but we're barely scraping by now.
At least I graduated from high school.
Matt stares in shock.
Well, by all means, take that high school diploma and start helping support this family.
I could do a better job of it than you do. That's for sure. And we have beer.
And what's stopping you? Since we've been married, you've had 0 jobs. I have 2, and sometimes a part-time 3rd job to stay afloat. All the money I do make, you just drink away. If you could do so much better, why aren't you?
Matt, you're a high school dropout. You're a maintenance man at a tennis club. You work at a laundromat. You know who that's better than? Nobody. Remember when I met you in the bar and you said you liked me, and I said you might as well marry me?
Yes. Of course I remember.
Biggest mistake of my life.
Stop. That was really freaking nice of you to say.
You weren't anything when I met you. And you aren't anything now. You'll never be anything more than you are right now, and that's nothing. Get used to it. This is your life, and because I was so stupid, it's my life too.
Really? It's pretty funny coming from you.
Matt sits down, not saying another word, just staring ahead into space. The lights dim and come up on the interview.
Kelly was a difficult situation to deal with. We had a child together and I loved her, but I've always thought of alcohol as a truth serum. And that night it felt like the wind had been knocked out of me. To hear someone you love say, and more importantly, mean, that I'll never be more than what I was right then really hurt. I guess for a brief second, maybe I even believed it myself. But your question was about going above and beyond. I think that working the 2 full-time jobs, trying to hold together a marriage with an alcoholic and raise a son was not going above and beyond. Any man worth anything will support his family and do whatever it takes. Dealing with Kelly meant realizing that I had to get out of that toxic environment. I filed for divorce and got custody of my son. I moved to Pennsylvania and got a job working for a biotech company. I've never forgotten those words. You'll never be anything more than you are right now. But I've never allowed myself to believe them either. I think hearing someone you love say something so nasty can make it easy to start believing that maybe it's true. But I took action and got myself and my son out of the toxic situation, and I think that is going above and beyond.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Matt, it seems you had a couple of very difficult situations to deal with. Once you started working at the biotech company, I'm assuming things started to look up? For this next question, though applicable to the previous example, please choose a new situation. Provide a time when you dealt calmly and effectively with a high-stress issue.
Well, like you, I thought things would be looking up and that the first events would be the hardest times I'd face in life. I guess there's no magic number of things that can be presented as challenges and calculated.
The live stem on the interview in Rising Hospital where Dr. Atienza is speaking with Matt and Diane.
Risks are involved with any surgery, but specific to this surgery, there are some risks I need to discuss with you as a part of informed consent.
It's just a brain tumor, and with the size of my brain, I'm sure the risks are minimal.
Matt, this is no time to be an ass. This is serious.
Tell her, Doc, it's a benign tumor, so there's no chemo or any risk of it spreading. It's not that big of a deal.
You are correct that it isn't malignant, so it won't spread throughout your body.
See, hon, nothing to worry about.
It won't spread, however. It will continue to grow and exacerbate the symptoms you're already experiencing. Additionally, as it grows, it will create more problems, and waiting will make the surgery more dangerous as the tumor will be larger and blood loss greater.
So, what kind of risks are we talking about?
There's risks of stroke. Prior to the brain surgery, we will do a procedure where we will run a tube through your carotid artery. We will start at your leg and go up through the heart into the artery. At the end of the tube, there is a balloon which will be inflated. This will stop the blood flow, and we will monitor you for signs of stroke. Think of it as like a test run, just in case it's necessary during the surgery.
Oh God, I can't believe this is happening. A brain tumor? Why?
This is something that is genetic in nature, so it's been developing since birth. But just now it's become large enough to start pressing on other things and cause problems Matt was experiencing, such as double vision. The tumor itself is located between the brain sac and the skull. It will present a bit of a challenge because it has wrapped around the carotid artery. I'd like to go over some of the more risks and surgery of the surgery and then explain the procedure.
Sure, Doc.
Memory loss is a significant risk factor in any surgery this type to the brain. You could lose your memory, and it could be temporary loss, but it could also be permanent.
You mean he might not know who I am anymore?
It's a possibility that could occur.
Don't go getting all upset, hon. It's not necessary. You're always saying I'd forget my head if it wasn't attached. You'll make sure my head gets reattached, right, Doc?
Shut up, this is serious.
Well, it's going to be okay. And if I don't remember you, then we will just fall in love all over again. Because there is no way in hell I wouldn't love you in this brain or what's left of it after the operation. These are just risks that they make us sit through, you know, to scare us. This stuff probably happens once in a million times. Besides this brain tumor, I'm healthy as a horse. And we're right down the street from the Hershey factory. Nothing bad happens that close to that much chocolate.
Diane smiles and kisses him.
That's my girl, silly woman. Okay, Doc, what else?
There's a risk of blindness in one or both eyes, paralysis, as in any case with any surgery. Death is always a risk. Any questions?
Death? Paralysis?
And I have to tell you about the risks, and they should be carefully considered, but we have a very good team assembled which minimizes the risk. And if something goes wrong, he is carefully monitored and our team can act quickly.
How long will this surgery last?
It's an 11 to 12 hour surgery, with a team of surgeons making sure Matt gets the best care. A healthy attitude goes a long way.
Wow, it's a long surgery.
It is. And let me explain the approach we plan to take, and it might help understand just why it takes so long. We're going to make an incision around the ear, move it out of the way, drill a hole into the mastoid bone behind the ear to extract the tumor. As mentioned, the tumor is wrapped around a major artery and the blood might need to be stopped for a period of time. We will be removing bones inside the left ear that are already damaged by the tumor. When finished, we will remove some of the fat from the belly and fill in the hole.
So, I'm getting liposuction and officially becoming a fathead all in one day? Not many people can say that.
Will there be a large scar?
There will be a sizable scar, but we will do our best to keep it as hidden as much as possible.
That will be a conversation starter for you, hun.
Chicks love scars. You better be good to me.
Don't think you're getting rid of me that easily.
Nor you me.
Matt hugs Diane tightly.
It's all fine. Just like you. Can imagine, just like you can imagine, this was a very stressful time for me and my family. It came out of nowhere, and I had all this information and all these decisions to make all at once. My wife was freaking out. I had Justin, Diane's daughter, and my mother-in-law was living with us, so once they told me it was benign, I knew I was going to be fine. I really only had two choices. Do nothing and let the tumor keep growing until it was an emergency, or be proactive. I chose to act and have the surgery. I also think I handled everything pretty effectively by keeping a sense of humor and a positive attitude. Just getting all the information and making the right decisions and then carrying it through without freaking out, that's how I would answer your question.
Thank you. Thank you for answering. You certainly are a man of many layers.
I am the onion.
Pardon me?
Just something Diane used to call me. She said I had so many layers like an onion, and she liked onions.
This is my final question for you, Matt. And again, I want to thank you for your openness and sharing such difficult issues.
Sharing them is easy. Living through them was a bit more challenging.
I can imagine. Here's my question to you. I think you've led into it well. Name a time when your patience was tested. How did you keep your emotions in check? If you'd like to just elaborate on a previous answer, I think we'd certainly be fine with that.
I'll just elaborate on the brain surgery. It really was a time that tried my patience and made me a patient all at the same time. After the surgery, the waiting began to see if I would wake up and to see if I would have any memory loss. And then it happened.
Lights fade on the interview room and rise to show Matt in the hospital bed with Diane sitting on his bed and a nurse monitoring his pulse.
Your hand, hun, you moved your hand. Matt, oh my God, honey.
Matt raises his hand slightly and does a small wobbly wave.
Hey there. I missed you.
Oh, Matt, I've missed you too. Please lie still. We don't want you to pull out your tubes and wires. I'm so glad to see you. I've never been so scared of losing anyone in my life. I love you and I've missed you. Maybe just a little.
They both smile and the nurse enters.
So, Mr. Rifenburg, how you feeling? Do you know where you are?
Green.
Excuse me? You've just had surgery. You're in the hospital. Can you tell me who this pretty lady here is?
Points to Diane.
Purple.
I'm gonna get the doctor. You rest, Mr. Rifenburg.
Nurse exits.
It's gonna be okay, Matt. Just trust me, baby.
Diane holds his hand and Dr. Atienza enters.
I hear that you're awake. How are you feeling?
Hungry.
And do you know where you are?
Heaven with all you beautiful angels.
Seems like you're back to normal.
Matt, you scared me half to death.
Silly woman.
Everything from the surgery looks good. We weren't able to remove all the tumor, but the part that we left will be slow growing, and so it shouldn't cause you any more major problems. Looks like your memory's good. Can you raise your right hand for me?
Matt raises his right hand.
And now your left.
He raises his left.
Great, I'm pleased. We will have you up and out of here in no time. But no more colors and tricking the nurses, agreed?
I don't have any memory of that.
Keep it that way. I'll be back later to check on you. Call on any of the nurses if you need anything.
Dr. Atienza exits and re-enters.
I hear you're causing quite a commotion here. How you doing, man?
Hey, Rick. Thanks for coming in. Diane, can you let me talk to Rick alone?
Sure, hun. I'll go grab some coffee.
Diane stares at Rick but doesn't speak.
Looks could kill.
Look, I know business is business, I get it. But you can't expect Diane to. You tell me I'm fired on Monday, and they tell me I have a brain tumor on Thursday? That's a hell of a week.
You know that I'm sorry about the timing.
I appreciate the month's pay, and you're paying the insurance so I could have the surgery.
It's the least I could do.
I agree with you there. I worked for you a long time, and you had a new supervisor fire me. I'm not gonna lie, it hurt.
I do understand.
Do you understand there if we're closing on the house and we're losing our cars? That's all on me. I have to fix it.
It's just business. You know I can't run it based on emotions.
I get it. I'm not blaming you. I wasn't executing at the level I needed to at the time, so you did what you had to do. Just wanted you to know what is happening, and I'm glad you stopped by. I'd say stop by the house sometime, but hey, you know, I'll bounce back.
I know you will, Matt. If anyone can, it'll be you. Again, I'm glad you came through the surgery okay. Give my best to Diane.
The lights dim on the hospital scene and rise in the interview room.
So we did lose the house and the cars. My salary had dropped from $65,000 to $70,000 to $20,000 to $25,000. It was probably the lowest point. Having to deal with that on top of the tumor, it put a lot of pressure on me, but I feel like for all that was thrown at me, I handled it pretty well. After the surgery, my eye wouldn't stay shut, so they had to put a weight in it to help it stay closed at night so it wouldn't dry out. They also took a nerve from my leg and connected one end to my tongue and then the other end to my facial nerve to help get some movement back on the left side. It had an 80% success rate, but I was one of the 20%. I was a little disappointed, I guess, but it wasn't soul crushing. It was more like I tried, it didn't work, let's move on.
In what ways did you move on?
I took an AutoCAD class while I was recovering from the brain surgery. I thought it would help me appeal to a wider employer base for when I did go back to work. I was hired while taking the AutoCAD class because of my previous 3D design skills and eventually ended up working on a project designing a process to make insulin for a company in the Middle East. It was a contract that my company had. It was all done in 2D, which was a good test of my skill set at the time.
You seem to be able to put a positive spin on even the tough things that happen. Would you say that's true?
That's my life, you know. You play the hand you're dealt with, and you play to win. Everything may sound all rosy and good, but, you know, I've lost a lot in life. And after the surgery, I was on steroids for a few months. Diane thought they made me too intense, and while the surgery brought us closer together in some ways, it drove us apart in other ways. Even the changes in my thinking about what I wanted drove a wedge between us. I just had little tolerance for things I had readily accepted before. In the end, we couldn't find the path that would move us forward together, so we divorced. I don't know if that is a positive spin, but it is what it is, all fine.
I believe that's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Don. Matt, I have just a few work-related questions for you. Thank you for your candor and patience today. You've spoken a lot about your education and background. Considering what you've told us, how do you feel about working in a research facility with physicists, engineers, and grad students?
I suppose you could say I'd be the dumbest guy in the room, but that would only be true if I didn't choose to look at it as being surrounded by a plethora of professionals and an opportunity for me to pick their brains. I'm very inquisitive. I've been a good team player and I get along well with every level of worker. My experiences have taught me a lot, and it may not be the normal path, but it's just a different one. Not a bad one, so yeah. I feel pretty honored to be on the staff of a facility like this.
This job would involve you being able to finish designs and turn them into something that could be made and support the engineering department. How do you feel about your skills in these two areas?
Well, I have a lot of experience with 3D design and with AutoCAD, both of which you use here. I have had a lot of collaborations with various engineering groups. I do have one question, though. You do know I know zero about particle physics, right?
We didn't expect that you did. We will teach you all that you need to know, so don't worry about that. And finally, I know you mentioned some low points and you're losing your job. I spoke to Rick, and he said you had drive that he had rarely seen before. How does it make you feel to hear this, considering he let you go?
You can say fired. The general manager did the firing, but Rick could have stopped it. I respect Rick a lot. Everybody wants to be a lion until it's time to hunt. That means making unpleasant decisions and doing the hard work needed that most people are not willing to do in order to be successful. Rick is a lion. Of course, it created a bad situation, but each day is another 86,400 seconds to get over it and get on with it. I have a lot of empathy for people. Many people I know struggle with various things. I try to encourage them, but not enable them. I think people who are enabled tend to get comfortable with being stuck where they are. For them, it's easier to be stuck than to fight to get out of their comfort zone. Being fired from a job I loved and dealing with the surgeries I had to have forced me to get unstuck, and I credit Rick for not enabling or coddling me just because we were friends. The next question people usually ask is, how did I do it? Up until the surgery, I had lived passively for the most part. Events leading up to this made me realize that A, I had many things I wanted to do, and B, I would die someday. I also realized I had a freedom of choice, and there were infinite possibilities for me. It was time to get busy living or get busy dying, as they say. Initially, it created sort of a paralysis, and I struggled with what direction I wanted to go next. My future was unwritten, which was great, but I had mountains to climb, which was scary and frustrating. But as Winston Churchill said, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. Unless we're talking about skydiving, maybe. So I knew whatever I had successfully done in the past was only a preview of what was to come. Sure, I failed sometimes along the way, but if I gave up and stopped where I was, life would roll over me and continue on without me. So I kept moving forward and executing the best I could because I had and still have so much left to do with my life. It ain't over until I say it is.
That answer concludes our interview. That's all the questions we have for you today, Matt. On behalf of Dawn and Carl, I want to thank you again for your time. You'll be hearing from us either way once we've made our hiring decision. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Matt shakes hands with all of them.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I look forward to hearing from you.
Matt exits.
That was quite an interview.
Indeed it was.
I'm glad it's over.
Yeah. Those obstacles you faced were hard to hear.
Yeah. I'm just glad it's over so I can stop pretending.
Pretending?
Right. I made it clear from the beginning that I thought he didn't deserve an interview and that I think this whole interview just proved that I was right. And it was wasted time.
I'm not sure how you can reach that conclusion.
We aren't giving out the pity award. This is an advanced level job at a research facility at an Ivy League university. I'm still not convinced he demonstrated he is qualified for the job.
I respect your opinion, and I too value education.
Then don't set a dangerous precedent by hiring a high school dropout. Fired from one job and still processing a brain tumor that they couldn't remove all of. It's ridiculous to even discuss this.
We owe this interview a fair, open-minded discussion. I can appreciate your fear of dangerous precedent, but I can also appreciate that there are exceptions to traditional paths, and I don't believe that his life experience as well as his work experience matter equally.
Rick had many good things to say about him. You seldom hear that from someone who has fired someone, and the drive Rick describes is incredible. I have no doubt he will be here hustling to do the best job he can every single day.
Exactly. The best job he can. The problem is that the best job he can do is probably not up to our standards.
Oh, come on. He has software skills and AutoCAD training. He's enrolled in college and an engineering program. And I think college is a perfect place for someone who is continually taking steps to improve.
I really am surprised at you, Carl.
I seem to remember a time not all that long ago when you would have been fired if I hadn't gone to bat for you.
Really? Are you really gonna go there? I didn't deserve to be fired, and you know that. That's why you went to bat for me.
And that's what Rick is doing for Matt in this recommendation. It's too little too late to give his house and cars back, but it's not too late to give him a job, and he has worked hard enough for... I'm recommending that we hire Matt Rifenburg.
And I'm willing to vote that way too.
No. Absolutely not. I'm not voting to hire him. He's unqualified.
We don't need your vote, but we'd like to have it.
You're going to be working closely with him, Dawn. Come on and give him a chance. I'm asking you as a favor and as a colleague to respect, and I respect you very much.
All right. I'll vote to hire Matt Rifenburg. Anything to shut you two up and not waste any more of my time. I hope you're happy now.
Thank you, Don. I'm sure you won't regret this. I'm going to call him and offer him the job.
Lights fade on the interview room and rise on Matt. Matt's cell phone rings and he answers.
Yes? This is Matt. What? Oh, yes. Of course I accept the job. Yes. Yes. I'll be there on the 26th. Thank you for this opportunity. Thanks again.
Matt paces in shock and excitement. He pauses for a moment thinking. He then smiles and dials a number on his cell phone.
Hey, Rick. Just got off the phone with Cornell and wanted to let you know what happened. I got the job. Yeah, pretty awesome. I also wanted to say thank you for the recommendation you gave me. I appreciate it a lot. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here. What? Well, thank you. Knowing you are proud of me means a lot after all we've been through, both good and bad. I owe you for a lot. Well, yeah, I know I worked my ass off for you, but you gave me the opportunity to learn and grow, and I'm happy to call you my friend. What? No, I don't need a hug. Thanks. Okay, talk to you soon. Take care.
Matt slowly puts his cell phone away and walks downstage with the spotlight on him. He smiles.
Damn, I did it. Everything I went through, but I did it. Unfucking believable. I got the job. Who'd have thought that I would be designing particle accelerators? Pretty cool. Take that, all you haters. Didn't think I'd ever do anything with my life? Well, here I am, killing it. What you got for me now, huh? Probably still going to talk shit about me, but whatever. Got no time for you. If anyone had told me when I quit school that I would be doing this stuff, I would have laughed and called them an asshole. Hell, if anyone told me just 10 years ago, I'd probably laugh and roll my eyes. But a lot of execution and a little luck helps a lot. Also, not listening to bullshit like what Kelly said way back when. Come to think of it, she was right to some degree. All I am is all I ever will be. And I'm pretty freaking awesome. I wonder what Mom would think about this. She'd laugh and smile and be happy, I think. Hope she would anyway. I hope you are, Mom. Oh man, I gotta start packing. Looks like I'm moving to Ithaca.
The lights dim on Matt and rise to the interview room where Matt and three interviewers are seated. So, Mr. Reifenberg, you want to work for us here at NASA and design rockets?
Yes, it's been a goal of mine for a long time.
I see you have excellent references at Cornell, where you were promoted to research support specialist.
Yes, that's correct. They usually require a bachelor's degree in engineering for that position. I worked hard there to advance.
Can you tell us a little about the time between leaving Cornell until applying to work here at NASA today?
Let's see. I was at Cornell in a magazine called Catalyst. I was at Cornell in a magazine called Catalyst, heard some of my story and contacted me about doing an article. Once that article came out, Bechtel National contacted me and offered me a job at the uranium processing facility in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. That led me to Virginia, where I supported the Oak Ridge Project, and then to Kentucky, where I worked on a chemical weapons destruction project at Bluegrass Army Depot.
And that's when the play about your life was written?
Yes, that's correct. A really talented playwright saw something I had posted on Quora and contacted me about writing the play.
How did you feel about seeing your life portrayed on stage?
She did a fantastic job, but I've always felt it was just my life and that I'm nothing special.
Your story is fascinating, and it seems your whole life has been that way. Is there anything you can't do?
Well, I look at it like this. I can't change the past. I can't predict the future. And for sure, I can't make anyone do anything they are unwilling to change on their own. Today is what I can change for me. Today I can stop doing X and start doing Y. Today I can execute at the highest level I'm able to. Today I can live like there's no tomorrow. Because when you get right down to it, there isn't. Life is pretty crazy these days. It feels like I'm on the downhill toboggan ride towards death. The hill is steep. The toboggan is on fire and I'm picking up speed. Today I can hope I designed the toboggan I'm on well enough so I can at least enjoy the ride. Today is all I have.
Lights fade.
So this is a true story. I read about it in the Richmond Register. Is Mr. Rifenburg here?
It is a true story, and I think the readers are going to help me to announce our guest, because I really think he should answer questions equally with me, since it wouldn't be possible without him. So it just takes a second, because it's hard to do this without Matt knowing, and we're sure he's going to enjoy it, which will only take a second, because as you'll learn about him, he likes kazoos, and he's especially fond of what you're going to see next. And I wish we could have implemented it faster, but it will be worth the reveal, I think. You know, it's the least we could do for him today, I felt like. So, our guest is in the room, and you'll be seeing him from the mimes that he loves. So this is Matt Rifenburg, the real. So now you could ask any questions or comments.
No? All right.
How long were you at the Army Depot?
I've been there almost a year now.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see how much longer. You know, projects don't last forever, so
Sure.
you might end up going on to something else. So
So you were